right, what is going on, man? How's it going today, Brad? You doing all right?
What's up, Mike? I am doing great, sir. Just hanging out. Another beautiful day out here in Florida. Super excited to jump into the charts today. Had some good news. A little bounce of bullishness.
Right.
And the crypto market, started yesterday evening, and so excited to just dive into the charts a little bit, talk about where we may be, and go from there. So,
Nice.
but yeah, man, it's
Nice, dude.
good day, good start to the week.
Every time you say Florida, I get jealous, I swear. Although we have had some really nice weather here in Texas. It's actually a dip down, man. We were sitting out by the pool yesterday and it was a nice cool breeze and everything. Kids were playing in the pool. It was good. It was good. I can't complain. We've had some actually a pretty good spring. So but every time you say Florida, man, and you send me those pics and whatnot, I was like, dude, the beach, I need it.
yeah. I've heard you guys have been having some crazy rain back home. I've gotten pictures from, we're renting our house out in Texas, and been getting, we have a big garden, and we've been getting photos of like the plants in our vegetable gardens are like these massive, huge things. Got wildflowers that are like massive that my wife just put seeds down for. So anyways,
there you go.
I know it's been pretty wild over there. So
right.
Good times.
But yeah, man. We had a good weekend. It was jam packed with baseball, and the kids started soccer now. My mom turned 79, so we celebrated that, man. And she's just still as active as can be, and looks like she's still in her 50s. It's wild. And what else, man? I've got a closing this morning that I'm going to right after this. So we got another big rehab coming on, so that's exciting. And the crypto world is ever exciting as always. I think that goes without saying. And so got some NFT projects I'm looking at, and these new free mints that are happening.
Lots of free mints going on right now.
Yeah, it's wild, man. Some of them are taking off. We got these weird goblins that went from 0 to 6.5 ETH like in a couple of days. And then they've got their Goblin Burger or something like that came out after that almost hit 1 ETH. Anyways, it's wild. These NFT projects are fun to watch and whatnot. So I'm enjoying that.
The NFT world right now is really crazy.
It is. It's really wild.
Really wild.
You almost don't know what's going to happen.
It's actually not at all like it was last year. It's like, doing these free mints and all, like, in these communities. And it's like, hey, seeing what's pumping and what's not. I kind of feel like it's all a big, huge meme coin right now, but it's like waiting for them all to tank. But some of these projects are doing some pretty crazy things. So
they are, man. I was looking at another one called Local Weather, and it's created by Russell Wilson, and then Gary Vaynerchuk's brother, as well, and his name is escaping me, unfortunately. I'm sorry. AJ, thank you, AJ. And then another large marketing company, because it's a sports drink that they're coming up with, so they have an actual physical product as well, and they're trying to get rid of the sugars and all that stuff and make it just a nice, viable, good to drink sports drink, because Russell Wilson's obviously in his background, right? And so he wants to provide back for them. But so they have that, and there's a lab that BNS or BNN Labs or something like that, that's part of it. So I've been watching that one, and to your point, like, yeah, it's wild and everything, but there are some good projects, in the mix if you can sift through the nonsense. So, it's
absolutely.
It's pretty cool. There's some staples in there, and some that are putting out, their second project and their third release, second and third release for their art and whatnot, and those are doing well. So there's some neat stuff in there. And then the whole move to earn. Kind of that whole FitFi deal with StepN, and then there's a new one called Step. So those are NFT projects as well, but they're also part of FitFi, which is fitness finance, essentially move to earn kind of stuff. Where your watch is tracking you and your steps and everything. Well, why not get paid for it, right? And so they kind of integrate NFTs with that. And so there's
interesting to see how those play out.
It will be.
I personally don't think that the fitness apps and stuff like that, like, I don't feel like they'll be able to hold, because it doesn't seem scalable. But
Yep.
who knows? We'll see what happens.
Right. I
Let's see
know
what
for
kind
me,
of
like,
marketing dollars they can get put behind them, and what kind of venture capitalist money they can
yeah,
get, and things like that.
exactly. Exactly. I know for me, like, I'll get into a fitness app or whatnot for like a month or two, and then I'm tired of using it. So I just go back to good old fitness,
Yeah.
which I need to get back to right now. But, but anyways, well, cool, man. Well, hey, why don't we dive in? You take us over with our bits and bites,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
we'll talk about the markets and where things are right now, the top movers from the week, and show us some
For
charts,
sure.
man.
All right. Let me know when you can see my screen. I think you can see it right now.
Yeah, you're good to go.
All right, cool. So here is the newsletter. Remember everything, guys, that we talk about here. This is not financial advice. This is strictly just for education purposes only. So anytime you trade with real money, invest with real money, you are taking risk, and that is your personal responsibility. So just know that. But so here is where we're at this week with our new newsletter.
You zoom in a little bit for us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I can.
Down at the bottom there, hit the plus.
Oh yeah, the plus
Perfect.
helps, right?
There we go.
There we go. Let me scroll that down. Boom.
Beautiful.
Okay. Does that look better?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Um, so I'm on a different computer today, guys. So I don't have my slick cursor thing and stuff like that I can show you. I'm gonna have to update this computer for these presentations. So, but you look at the market cap here. You know, we're still like right exactly where we were last week when we recorded this, right? So
Right.
last week was an interesting week, and we've been playing in, and I'll show you the chart in a minute, but we've been playing in the same like zone, right? So it's like basically, it's like, okay, it gets up to like 31, Bitcoin's around 31, you can sell it back down to 29.5, and then you can buy it back up to 31.5, and it's just like bouncing right here, right now. So it's making a little consolidation wedge. So but the market cap as a whole is basically unchanged from last week on Monday. Bitcoin is basically in the same spot it was last week as well. Ethereum is basically in the same spot it was as well. We show a little bit of a down arrow here, but it's basically the same spot. We did have some big movers though over the last 7 days, and still are happening. And Helium, this is a project, very interesting project. I'm big on it. Mike just got a helium miner last week. I've actually got one behind me in a bag over here as well, and I've got one set up at my house in Texas. But helium is a cool project. Take a look into it if you're interested. But it's basically the Internet of Things, and so you as a miner are providing the network, and you're providing connectivity to the network. So it's a super cool deal. Helium has been as high as, I believe, $50. I don't know what the current price is on it right now. I guess I can look real quick. Helium. Here we go. It's back to $10. I know it was down, but look, I mean, it's up 16% on the day. And then, you can look at a chart of helium, and you can see like its all-time high was $54. Its all-time low was 11 cents. And so you can kind of see just obviously same path that everything else has been on in the crypto space, but it's had a nice boost from $7 last week back up into 10, almost $11 range. So pretty nice move there. Cardano, another big project, top 5 coin, is up 30% on the week, and Chainlink is another large project, up almost 20% on the week at 18.9. So you got some great movers right now in the market. And this weekend's close was actually an interesting close for Bitcoin. So let's just jump on the chart for a second. So this is a Bitcoin weekly chart. I'm kind of going to keep it zoomed out for a second, just so You guys can see, well, actually, let me try to zoom it in. I don't have like the touch screen on this second monitor, so I just have to kind of play with it. But if we're just looking at the last year's worth of price action, okay. So this was April, all-time high, that was set last year's last year's low at 29.5, basically ran back up in November to create all-time high at 68. And then boom, we're back down. Now, what's happened in Bitcoin is we've never had you see all these down candles right here, since this started back in March, this big transition down, since basically we're at 50,000 almost, when it popped back up to 48,000. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weekly down candles.
It hurts.
Okay. So that's the most we've ever had in the history. So you can go back on this weekly chart and you'll see, like, even in these other down, there was not, I mean, there's always an up candle, there's always an up candle that's breaking this movement up somewhere. We had not had one until yesterday's close of this weekly candle.
Look at that.
And so you got this just a little bit of an uptick to save the day. All right. Now you can also see that it had a huge push up. You got this big wick here that ran up to like 32.5, I think 32. Let's see where it ran up to. 32,350 basically last week, before it came back down and touched into that 29 levels again. And then obviously since yesterday evening, this has been pumping. I had an alert set at 29.8 to jump into a buy position to ride this thing back up. I could see us running up. You can see I have an alert here at 35.5. I could see us bouncing back into this range, but we'll see what happens. This indicator, though, seeing this could potentially show that this point right here was a bottom when Bitcoin went down to 25, because the typical sell-off that would happen from a all-time high, this goes back to those two philosophies, these two timeline philosophies that people have right now. We could see Bitcoin move. If this was the high and this was a false top, and a lot of indicators show this as the high, then it's been a year. It's been over a year now. And so you're in that range of where you should have seen a bottom, somewhere between 12 and 14, 15 months is what Bitcoin traditionally would do, right? And so this could potentially have been a bottom. Now you're starting to see a reversal. If this would have closed down again, then you would have continued to believe in the continued down cycle here. But now we've shown a sign of willingness to move up. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see what shakes out over these next couple of candles, these next couple of weekly candles, if we maintain this level or not.
Right.
So if we maintain this level, 2 months from now, we'll be talking about how 25 was like the perfect buy opportunity, and what a bottom, and anyone that caught that, what a great job they did. If not, you could continue to see the down movement if, through November-ish to first quarter sometime would give you the 12 to, 15 months range from this November high. So, you still have those two schools of thought. I could potentially see this bounce back up and then continue a retracement down like we discussed before, into, at least the old all-time highs around 20,000, 19,000. You could potentially see the 80 to 88% retracement like a Bitcoin cycle traditionally would do. That would take you down into the 10 range. Again, this is all speculation, but wanted to show you all the different possibilities that could potentially happen right here. So we'll see. But just know that we're kind of in the middle of those two ranges at this point now that we're in June. right? You know, he had April and November. So we're kind of in the middle. So really, if you started dollar cost averaging at this time, you're not in a bad position. I mean, could it go lower? Sure.
Right.
You know, but you know, if you're dollar cost averaging at this point, you know, I would not like throw all of your money in, but it's like if you started to put a little bit of money here and there, you know, typically the bear market cycle is going to give you roughly a year to accumulate. You got time here, like we discussed last week. But interesting to see what the charts are showing. So a little bit of confusion on where we might be right now, but you know, pretty neat stuff. So
Yeah.
with that, Mike, I'm going to pass it over to you. I'm going to stop my screen share, pass it back over to you, and let you continue with some news.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff. That's good insight into those. Man, I learned something new just watching you every time. So I'm learning with you guys. It's when you hear, okay, 12 to 15 months, and you learn that there's a top here and then a potentially a false top here, in that time frame, like that really helps you put things into perspective. So that's really good stuff, Brad. I appreciate that.
Yep.
And like you said, if you're dollar cost averaging in now, you're going to be, let's say it like drops and falls to 10, which I don't think it will. I don't think Brad thinks it will. I've been talking about potentially 20, in the 20s, lower 20s, but it's potential. We already saw it, as well. But even if it did go down and you're just dollar cost averaging into that, all the way, you're still going to be fine. You know what I mean? Like it's not like, dang it, I should have waited and gotten in at 20. It's like nobody has a crystal ball. Like you can't, you know. So if you're DCAing into these things at this point, you're just fine, and nobody's gonna like, why didn't you wait, man? You should have waited until it got all the way down to that penny right there, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah, you know, and the other thing, I know I'm off the chart now, but the other thing is, you know, Bitcoin normally on the weekly chart uh does not stay below the 200 EMA very long at all. And yeah, so you know, it tapped that, went just underneath it when it hit 25. I could see it, you know, pushing back down into that range to just
yeah,
kind of play here for a little while.
right,
But you're in a pretty good buy area. And like Mike's saying, like if you started buying Bitcoin, you know, right now, and I would definitely encourage you, if you are going to start dollar cost averaging, dollar cost average into big projects,
yeah, for
Bitcoins,
sure.
Ethereum's, you know, top 5 project types, you
Cardano,
know,
Solana,
Cardano,
yeah,
XRP,
big
you know,
ones, yeah, XRP,
you know,
yep,
watch what you pay attention to what you're putting your money into. I
yeah,
would not be dumping money into, you know, small altcoins that could disappear. You know, you're going to have plenty of time to invest into stuff that can, you know, go up 100x.
right,
You know, but now is not the time for that. Now is the time to accumulate, you know,
yeah.
any kind of major project. So
And if
just kind of pay attention to what you're doing. But like if you were to buy, you know, I tell people this all the time. If you were to buy Bitcoin at, let's say, you know, what is that at today? 31.5 versus 28,000. And when it's at 100,000 or even back at all-time highs at 68,000, do you really care about the $2,000
right,
difference?
yeah,
You
exactly.
don't. And so it's like that's why dollar cost averaging is so powerful. So you know, just try to figure out what the right strategy is for you and make it work.
Yeah, and if you're looking for those top coins, man, we love CoinGecko.com. You can just go there, and they sort them by market cap, and so you're looking for those large cap coins that are, you know, above the $1 billion, market cap line. You even really, if you want to stay even larger, you're looking at 10 billion plus probably, for a market cap. Minus this Dogecoin you see in there, you take your own pick on that one, but we're hands off on that one at this point right now. But that is what it is. But you look at this, you've got Ethereum, BNB, Cardano, XRP, Binance, USD. No, that's a stable coin. You got Solana, Polkadot, different things like that. And you can research all these. You click on them. Let's say we click on Polkadot here. You can go to their website in the top right, polkadot.network. You can click there, polkastats.io. You can read their white paper, which is essentially everything about the project, okay, handed to you on a silver platter. They're very detailed, and they can get very technical. So if you're not that kind of mindset, or don't have that kind of brain, then go to the polkadot.network. Look at the websites, right? And you just do your own research that way, right? This is a fantastic site for that. So, all right, let's jump back in. Oh, and then Brad mentioned EMA, just for those who may not know, exponential moving average. Okay, and what he's talking about is these lines that he had on his chart. There's people typically are using like the 200, the 100, the 50, and then they go down from there. But all that means is essentially, let's say you're on a daily chart. A 200 EMA means it's taking the last 200 days and doing an exponential average on those. Okay. If you were on an hourly chart, it would take the last 200 hours and it would be giving you an average of the last 200 hours. So that's all that means. So just in case you weren't aware of that. And so what he's saying is that on the daily chart, correct, is the one you were talking about in that case, that it stays
on the weekly.
On the weekly, okay. So Bitcoin has stayed above the 200 EMA on the weekly chart as well. So the past 200 weeks, it typically is staying above that.
Yeah, I mean, when it dips below it, but not very far, and that typically signals a bottom.
There you go.
So like if you look in 2019, I mean, if you want, I can share my screen again real quick.
Yeah, show it real quick. Let me do that.
All right, let me do that real quick. So you should be able to see my screen now. Okay. All right, so the 200 is this dark blue line. Okay, so this is the 2017 high Bitcoin. Okay, you see bear market, it dips, it touches this, it stabilizes here underneath this, and then when it goes back above it, it starts to move into its next cycle, right? This is COVID breaks it back down, drops below, but then quickly it's a wick down, but then like comes right back up to it and then starts that big 2020 run. Okay, so where are we at right now? Well, when we hit 25, we tapped it. Okay. Right. So we still have room to come down here and get into this zone. But know that okay, so we're very close, to where we may see some kind of bottoming out and then reversal. I'm not going to say, and hear me when I say this does not signal we're about to have some exponential growth up. I mean, look how long it takes. You still are going to have a traditional Bitcoin cycle. You still have a Bitcoin halving that's in 690 days from now or whatever. And so that's when you're going to start to see this thing climb again, but you could see this slow trickle back up like you have in these ranges before. So that's what I'm trying to show by using that.
Right. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, let's dive into some headlines for these last few minutes and just some of the things that have come out this past week in terms of headlines. Kind of the top one that we see, regulation is on the horizon. Right. And so any headline that kind of comes out about regulation, we kind of got our eyes on. So there's two that we had this past week. U.S. Senate Bitcoin bill to fully integrate digital assets into financial system. So we knew that this was out and about. This isn't the only headline that's ever happened about it. Right. But seemingly it is getting closer and closer to getting released. So go into this over here on coinspeaker.com. U.S. Senator set to unveil integrated crypto bill. This senator has been a big proponent of crypto, and she's always spoken outwardly to it, and it is wanting it to be implemented. She knows it's the future. She wants to see it succeed. Now, she doesn't necessarily believe that CBDCs are where we should go, okay? But she's going along with whatever the SEC kind of says in that term, because that's their wheelhouse, right? And this is Lummis. So she has this big bill, her and another guy who have been putting this together. They said it was supposed to be potentially released tomorrow, June 7th. We're supposed to see it. 70-page draft of the bill, and it's basically supposed to detail what things will fall under the SEC and what things will fall under CFTC, the commodity futures trading. And so that's going to give us some real definition as to what these coins and what these projects are going to be, either commodities or securities, and where the NFTs are going to go from here and stuff like that. I mean, we know this stuff is on the horizon. We know the government wants to tax it. That's the big reason for all of it. They call it regulation and safety and all this stuff, but they want it to be taxed. Ultimately
They want their money.
There may be a couple of them in there that, yes, are truly concerned about, us as well. We don't want people to be taken by these scams and whatnot. And that is in and throughout, don't get me wrong, is in and throughout crypto currently. And it's in and throughout anything of value, really. Let's not just pick on crypto. I mean, thieves they'll go after anything of value. It's just that it's easier to do it with crypto because they can just very simply do it from behind a computer. You know what I mean? And hack into it. And there's hacks in Discords, and there's hacks in wallets and all over the place, right? And different blockchains and whatnot. So the regulation / safety, it is needed. We need the larger companies in here potentially to come and help out in that regard. There's only so much that this market can do without the larger players, right? The only way that we're going to grow is if we have more and more money funneling into crypto, right? And so, unfortunately, that's just going to have to come with regulation. It's just kind of a necessary evil.
You got to think about it. It's like, we don't want institutions being involved, right? Because you don't want their philosophy of money, you don't want how the banking system works to come into crypto. It's like completely destroys the idea of decentralization. But where's all of the money in the world?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're gonna have a huge part to play no matter what, and we have to understand that. And so it's not like all of a sudden all of the world's money is going to become decentralized. Like that's such a great overarching idea, but there's no way that can truly happen.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, you've got, on one hand, you don't want it, all the crypto enthusiasts, I don't want you inside my money. I don't want you seeing every single, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's public knowledge anyways. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, it is.
The beautiful part about this is now we can see when the government, when the institutions are trying to scam us.
There you go. Right. All right. Well, let's even the playing field. Let's even the playing field. That's what this is about, So anyway, so this is coming. This will be the first large, 70 pages, right? So this is going to be like the first large thing on paper for the public to review, that talks in detail about regulation. It's not speculation anymore as to what things are going to be called what, but this bill could potentially be the thing that actually sets in motion what is going to happen, right? I mean, we had Biden earlier this year put out his call to all parties, to bring him all knowledge on everything, right? And so this is right in the wave of that. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this and see what happens with that. Interestingly enough, at the same time, Japan passes a stablecoin bill aimed at protecting crypto investors, right? And so I don't have that specific. Where was it? Japan passes stablecoin bill aimed at protecting crypto investors. Japan's parliament has passed a new law that would create a regulatory framework for stablecoins, essentially defining them as digital money. Okay, so that's going to be a security, right? And so it's first of its kind in this regard from a country like this, and so this could kind of set the stage for other, legal proceedings to go and come around stablecoins, right? And it's after the fall of Terra and what just happened there, and now we're seeing other stablecoins who were algorithmic stablecoins now backing themselves by fiat currencies or Bitcoin or gold or other things, and they're starting to mix. I know, Tron and their stablecoin, they just totally revamped, how they're doing things, right? And so all this stuff is going to start coming out about stablecoins, and this is kind of the first of many to come, in my opinion, that we'll see in terms of policies around stablecoins in that market. So it's a good thing, in my opinion. I think it's just piggybacking on the last thing. It's a necessary evil. We need it. We need this legislation. It is what it is at this point. So let's go to the next ones. There's a few others. We've been talking about the amount on exchanges for Bitcoin and the amount that are on, that are in wallets and hard storage and all that stuff. 65.7% of Bitcoin supply has not moved in at least 1 year. So think about that. It's 12.5 million coins that are not shaking in their boots, right? That is not fleeting back to exchanges to be sold, right? So that's a big number. That is a big number. And that just tells you the real stability, of this market, right?
Well, and you got to realize too, there are positions that these institutions are in. There's governments that are in particular positions where they've purchased Bitcoin at different price points. At some point, they're going to have to protect those prices.
Sure.
The big money is going to have to protect their own entries. Most big money did not get into this space until after 20,000.
Yep.
Just some numbers to think about.
Yeah, that's good stuff. A couple of the others. Bitcoin Lightning Network capacity continues pushing to new all-time highs despite current price decline. So you kind of, with some of these that are on here, you just kind of got to sift through. It's like, yes, it's volatile. Yes, it goes up and down. Yes, they're going to put out these headlines that are meant to scare you and all this stuff. But you kind of got to read between the lines here, on what really is happening. Is it a riskier asset at this current point in time? Yes. Right? Because it doesn't have the market cap to stop that volatility. Okay, so if something does make a big movement, you're gonna see it really quickly in the chart. So it's just the name of the game right now. But if you can read between the lines and see these projects and see the supply and where it's sitting and see all the policies coming out about it, and all this stuff. I mean, this isn't going anywhere. You know what I mean? It's bears can have all the fun they want, and all those family members and friends who are telling you, making fun of you for what you're excited about, and whatnot. But the facts are here. The facts are here in these headlines if you can sift through them. Similar regard, we've got some on the right hand side talking about crypto winter. Are we in a crypto winter? Feels like it. I would say so, with nine weeks of downtrending, before we saw the past final week, candle where we had a big push up.
Right. Finally got that bullish candle. Yep.
We closed positive. So far, so good looking today. But all in all, yes. Are we in a crypto winter? Yeah, I would say so. Get your coats. At the same time, some of the larger companies and some of the larger exchanges are halting hiring and taking back other job offers. It's the same as in any other industry. It's no different, right? If you look at the next headline, though, NBA crypto sponsorship spending increased 7,300% this season.
I mean, if you haven't seen, I don't watch a ton of sports anymore, but if you haven't seen a ridiculous amount of advertising for crypto in the sports world lately, I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's sad is I saw in the back of, I think it was a Tampa Bay Rays game. I'm not 100% sure, but I saw a Luna ad after the Luna crash. So obviously they had spent money with the MLB, and then there's like this ad flashing behind home plate, and I'm like, oh, the teams need to like get these advertisements off the
screens. Oh my goodness, that's funny. That is hilarious. But I mean, so the same companies that are like halting on hiring for momentarily, because they've been growing at crazy rates at the same time. So,
Sure.
at any point you've got to halt for a second and, and
Right.
count your chickens and
Well, it's like, mortgage companies right now are laying off like crazy.
yeah.
You know,
Yep.
there's a ton of layoffs going on in mortgage companies because they know that the demand's down right now.
Exactly.
Like as interest rates are going to go up, they're not going to need as many people like to process things. And, and so it's like, of course, you're going to have, some layoffs. But guess what? A couple years from now, like all these crypto firms are going to be hiring like crazy.
Yep.
And if you have any kind of Web3 type skills, like I would capitalize on that. Like
Yeah,
I would
for sure.
like really dive into that because man, you could like create a whole new world for yourself by understanding how to develop or how to have Web3, development skills.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I think the last headline that I wanted to touch on, I thought this was an interesting one. Crypto 401k provider For Us All sues U.S. Department of Labor. Okay, so they're suing the U.S. Department of Labor after the regulator discouraged retirement planners from turning to crypto. Okay, so they're wanting to take away your right to invest your money where you want to invest it in your own retirement account. So you've got this company For Us All who is sticking up, sorry for the pun, for us all, right? And sticking their neck out. They've got over $1.7 billion in assets under management, okay? And they are suing the U.S. Labor Department. I mean, that's a big, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So they're seeking to preserve the rights of American investors to choose how to invest money in their own retirement accounts. I mean, Brad, I don't know about you, but I'd be pretty upset if I didn't have a choice as to where I could invest my money.
Yeah, I mean, and like I used to have 401ks and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of times you're very limited in your options and what you're like able to invest into and what you're not able to invest into. And
right,
that is the unlikely or unfortunate part of working corporate.
Yeah.
Being tied into those systems. But
yeah, exactly.
But there's a lot of benefits.
But even then,
too.
I mean,
a lot of,
right.
So,
well, it's funny too.
No one's matching what I put into my retirement account. So.
There you go. You heard it here first. No, I'm just kidding. None of this is financial advice. But I mean, you talk about JP Morgan. When crypto was first making its run, he used the front owner of that company, Jamie Dimon, used to tell his employees that they couldn't invest in crypto, right? And now look at him. And now he's like, oh crap, crypto's here to stay. The largest bank, in the US, Chase Bank, is all in, seemingly, from every headline that they put out, and why? Because they have something to lose, right? I mean, they have all of those assets that they control and everything, all the money that they control, rather.
JP Morgan is one of the largest money manipulators in the world because they're the largest currency trader in the world.
Exactly.
If not the largest, in the top three, on a day-to-day basis. And so, I mean, there's more money flowing through them than pretty much anywhere else in the world.
Right. So anyways, I thought this was an interesting article, and this just kind of speaks to the crypto community, as a whole, and what we stand for, and what we're trying to do in the financial market, and really take back control, right, of our finances, and not yet. Do we need government? Yes. Right. I'm not trying to go to this, non-government, standpoint or anything like that. Do we need it? I believe, yes, we do need it to a point. Right. But they don't need to be meddling in every little thing, that we want to do with our money. Right. So we need it for certain protections and laws and stuff like that. But, I don't want them telling me I can't invest in crypto if I want to invest in crypto. So anyways, I thought it was a neat article. Man, I think that's gonna wrap up what we've got This week, really, we didn't have too many other changes. If you guys want this full bits and bytes that has some of this other coins and projects that we've got on here, and just kind of talks about some other things we've got on. We do have a couple of events this week, both on Thursday, two sides of town. If you're in the DFW area, Dallas-Fort Worth area, we've got our Crypto and Craft Brews event. This is our third one. So this will be this Thursday starting at 6:30. So come, it's very casual hangout type of thing, and just talk crypto, rub elbows with people doing big things, and people who are just learning what a coin is. So we've got the full spectrum there, but just come and hang, grab a beer, and we'd love to have you there. And then we've got Barbecue and Bitcoin event, who Chris Avila is hosting for us, and that one's going to be a more not formal, but a more formal discussion and instruction, about Bitcoin, how you can invest, and some options for you there, and more directed knowledge. If you want something where you're bringing a pen and pad and you're learning, some of the basics, that'd be a good event for you, rather than just having general conversation. So anyways, we got those two events coming up that I wanted to highlight. If you do want this full bits and bytes, jump into our Telegram. We will drop it in there. Our Telegram link is in our show notes as usual. And all of the headlines and stuff you can find in there. You can Google those pretty easily as well. But man, I don't think I have anything else for this week. So
no. Man, the only other thing that I can think of is just some funny news. I don't follow much about Hollywood or anything like that, but I thought this was interesting right here.
Got over there.
So, Johnny Depp apparently has an NFT. I don't know anything about like his trial or anything like that, but apparently he won last week. And as soon as his court case ended, his NFT spiked in trading volume.
Check that out.
And so he has this NFT called Never Fear Truth, where he made all these paintings of himself, his friends, and things like that. And I don't know anything about it, but look at this spike in volume right here. I mean, insane. Like all this trading volume is like nothing, then boom. So, hey, let's end the night in the show off with whoops, wrong button.
That's fantastic.
With something silly like that, and just
hey, I love me some Johnny Depp, man. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Hey,
dude.
All I know about Johnny Depp is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Why is the rum gone?
But apparently he has an NFT. Apparently he won a court case, and boom, things blew up. So good job for Johnny Depp fans. But so
great. Now I'm gonna have to go look at that one.
yeah. All right, guys, y'all have an awesome week. Thanks for tuning in. Again, show notes below, subscribe, help us get the word out, and make it a great day. It's your choice what you do with the day, and make it awesome. We'll see you next time.
Heck yeah, we appreciate every single one of you. If you did get anything of value out of this, man, I challenge you to share with one or two people today, and just help us spread this knowledge to others. And we hope to see you at one of our events. If you want to reach any of us, either of us, we've got our Twitter and Instagram handles down in the show notes as well. And as always, we thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.
See you guys.